This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome back to the Power 6 podcast. Here's your host, Isaiah Rose.
All right, guys, welcome back to Rivalry Weekend with the Power 6 podcast. Lots of surprising action in college football this past week. Another week of cold games for the fans. I hope everyone that, went and traveled to see your teams play stayed warm during the game. I know Max, Brad, and I, and Headley all went out to the game. It was pretty cold, stayed warm. I hope you guys all, stayed warm too. Didn't get frostbite, nothing. So this week we have...
I didn't stay warm.
Oh, that sucks, Connor. We got Max, Connor, Headley, and myself, Isaiah. Devin missing out on the third episode in 4 weeks. And then Bradley missing out because he is sick tonight. Hope you feel better, Brad. Hopefully everyone will have a good holiday weekend. This coming weekend, you got Thanksgiving this Thursday. I hope you guys get some good time with family. We have another very exciting slate of college football ahead of us. Rivalry weekend always has some good turnouts, some underdog wins. So hopefully you guys don't miss out on any of the action. We'll shoot things over to Max with this week's agenda.
Thanks, Isaiah. As you mentioned, it is one of the greatest times of the year. It is rivalry week. Absolutely love it in college football. So many good matchups. And we got a little taste of it last week with Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, USC, and UCLA. And we'll definitely give our reactions to both of those results as well. But we'll get into things. The Husker game, like we usually do to start off with. Wisconsin wins 15-14 after Nebraska had a 14-3 lead. Heading into the fourth quarter and blow it. I don't even know what else to say anymore. It's just the same old thing. It's funny because during that entire game too, when we were up 14-3, like I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Like we can beat Wisconsin. We're about to do this. The entire time, what was going through my head is, what is it going to be like when we blow this lead? You just can't even enjoy the actual lead, well, even when it's happening. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, I had that same thought in the back of my mind the entire game, especially going into that fourth quarter. I was not confident. I think at that point we only had like 160 yards of offense, and Wisconsin had like 260, and they were just running the ball. They weren't even playing Braylon Allen and whoever they were. I can't remember the guy that was playing. They're getting 5 yards easy. Our defense was just getting worn down, and I just knew that fourth quarter was going to be trouble. I haven't been that upset about Husker loss in a while, but this week was just devastating, to be there. You're at 14-3 in the fourth. You think you got the green light to win, and you let them back in the game. Just very frustrating. And then also on the drive back home, listening to 16-20 with Max, I was frustrated. That was very brutal. The fans, they got a lot of scrutiny behind the team, but some of it I think isn't warranted, but everybody has their own opinion.
Dude, yeah, I felt the same way. That was like the toughest Husker loss I've experienced in a long time. Like I took that one real hard. I think a lot of it's that we haven't beaten Wisconsin since I was 12 years old, and we were so close. But really, were we close? No, we weren't. We were going to lose that game the whole time. The thing that's really upsetting is that there's another game this season. And that we have a chance to go even further down as a program, which sucks.
Yeah, this Husker program sucks right now. It's really, I don't know. You have to try to be this bad in most cases, the streak that they're on.
Dude, I took it poorly, man. After the game, I was like just wishing that all of football was over for the year. I was wishing that everyone's season just ended, that I didn't have to watch anybody else's team just do better than mine. I'm kind of over it a little bit, but I'm sure I won't be on Friday afternoon.
I didn't really get to see this game because I was at the Michigan State Indiana game, which also sucked. But I was checking the score and I saw Nebraska was up, and I was like, oh wow, look at that. But then when I checked at the end of the game and saw that they lost, I wasn't very surprised.
Well,
yeah, most classic Husker game ever.
Nebraska had so much going for them in this game. That targeting penalty, questionable. And then the guy comes out in the field after they score a touchdown, another 15-yard penalty. the one catch that was close that they called complete and then they overturned it. Nebraska, we had so many things going for us in this game. It was just we shot ourselves in the foot and we lost the game in Nebraska fashion once again.
That's true. Wisconsin had a lot of penalties on our second scoring drive. They had like 2 personal fouls,
Yeah.
and that really helped us out. Like things were going our way.
And we won the turnover.
we won the turnover back. We didn't
And
have any
yeah.
turnovers. It is rare to watch a Nebraska game where we don't turn the ball over anymore. We didn't have any turnovers, and we got a pick. We only had 2 penalties. Like this game in a lot of ways, I think that's why maybe it's so frustrating to watch us go lose this, is because we did a lot of the things. We didn't do a lot of the usual things that cause us to lose games, which is like those stupid turnovers, stupid penalties. We didn't do those things, and we still found a way to lose the game. It's just.
How did Casey Thompson play?
He didn't do bad. He
played
didn't
good.
have time to throw the ball. Guy had
Better than
scrambling
the
for his
backups
life.
had in the
Yeah,
past couple weeks.
Night and day. It wasn't Casey's best game by any means, but it's night and day between him and Smothers and Purdy.
I mean, the guy still can't feel his pinky, and he still plays better than both the backups combined.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to talk about this game is right after half, they received the opening kickoff after half, and we got a 3 and out right away. 3 plays, we got a punt. Have you ever seen a Nebraska team have you seen a Nebraska team in the last 5 years that scores after a 3 and out? That it just doesn't happen. It's so frustrating that we never just string things together. It's always just one piece is working at a time.
That's a really good point, Headley. Even if you remember back to the Illinois game, we score to take the lead. Illinois gets the ball back, and we get a huge 3 and out. After we take the lead, we get the ball back. Ramir Johnson drops the pass. Casey Thompson gets hurt and throws an interception. Yeah. No, that's a great point, actually. We can never our offense and defense never seem to work in tandem to string a couple stops and scores together. It's always one is playing really well for a little while, and yet while the other's taking a shit.
That's a great point.
At the end of the game, when our defense forces a stop, we get the ball back. I don't remember how much time we had left. What was like?
There was like
3
minutes and 40 seconds left when we got that ball back.
I think everyone in the stadium knew we're going 3 and out here, and we're gonna punt the ball back. Like I don't think anybody had any confidence our team getting a first down. I mean,
not at all.
Everyone kind of saw the end of that game before it happened. I don't think anyone was surprised.
No, I wasn't surprised at all.
Game. Only one thing going right at a time.
Yeah,
that's true.
Only drive the ball, can't put the ball.
Our offense, even in this game, our offense played better, scored 14 points, which is still tough to win when you only score 14 points. They had 171 total yards. That's not much. I had this somewhere here. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're in our last 3 games, we're averaging 195 yards a game in our last 3 games. That is dead last in the country. And
wow.
Second last is the worst offense in the country, but second to last in that stretch is Iowa at nearly 100 yards per game more than us.
Wow.
In the last 3 games.
And that's surprising to hear after seeing the over under this week.
Yeah, I think it's probably gone up though quite a bit.
I want to note that,
What's surprising, did you say, Headley?
The over under.
For Iowa, Nebraska?
Yeah.
Is that 38 and a half?
38 and a half.
Oh, 38 and a half? Okay, never mind. I saw a wrong number then. I thought it was in the 40s, and I was really surprised to hear that.
I think it opened in the 40s.
It opened at 42 and then quickly dropped in I'm pretty sure a couple hours to the 30s, the 38s. Which I'm not.
We'll get to
surprised.
that preview. We'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's super frustrating. But anyway, we'll move on from that. It's enough talking about the Huskers. It's pretty painful. Before we get into the rest of the college football slate, can we just talk real quick, just stay within the state of Nebraska here about that?
I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah, we'll talk about the state championship game last night. What an unbelievable game.
Awesome.
Dude, those
Fill
quarterbacks,
me in on that. I didn't
those
watch.
quarterbacks
I
are
watched-
so much better than some D1 quarterbacks.
Dude, Zane
Right.
Flores, it's ridiculous that Scott Frost did not offer this.
That guy has a cannon.
Yeah.
He threw 5 yards from his own end zone and got it to the 50-yard line. Like that pass alone, I was like, holy shit.
And we're offering
Didn't
like
he also throw 3 picks though?
He did
Yeah,
throw 3 picks.
yeah, he did.
Faring well at Nebraska.
But high school football, whatever.
Yeah, high school
Throw as many
football,
picks.
that's pretty.
He's got an arm though. Like his arm strength and his size, his poise in the pocket too, his mobility. Like he's committed to Oklahoma State.
His stat line really doesn't show it all too, because there were a lot of drop passes he had where there's just perfect throws, just right through the hands.
He did make really good spot on throws.
Yeah, I watched one possession of the game, and it was West Side. They kicked a 45-yarder, and it looked like it was good from 65. That's all. That's the only possession I watched.
He kicked the one from 50, and they said it was good from 65.
Yeah. That West Side kicker, Tristan Alvano, was ridiculous.
Yeah.
If we're not hearing that name on during Nebraska games in the next couple of years, I'm gonna be pissed. That kid has a leg.
This morning, he did get a full scholarship offer from Nebraska. So
well deserved.
Yes.
Yeah. I was really happy to see that. It'd be like Nebraska to just scoff at that talent and just go get some 4-star from California or whatever.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And we have like Henrik Harburg and these other guys on our team who are kind of under the radar guys out of like Kearney and stuff, but we're completely ignoring I don't even know what Zane Flores is. He's 3 or 4-star out of Gretna, who has the all-time
3-star.
Yeah, 3-star all-time
passing yards or something.
Passing yards record for Nebraska high school football. So I have no idea how we don't offer that kid, but either way.
You guys noticed that Gretna did not run the football. I know they were playing from behind, but like I saw them run the ball maybe twice.
Yeah.
Outside of Zane Flores scrambling, and when he scrambled, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, super good game. Bunch of good athletes. Hopefully we get Caleb Benning to commit to Nebraska.
What was the final score of that game?
43-41. West Side won on the last second.
It was like Mahomes versus Josh Allen. It was just back and forth at the end.
Yeah.
Damn, that's kind of crazy.
And yeah, that kicker made he went 5 for 5 field goals, and he had like a 26-yarder, 3 within 40-yard range, and then 1 50-yarder, and absolutely nailed every single one.
Dude, all of them were right down the center, like just so perfect.
And perfect ball flight too, end over end rotation. It's like an NFL kicker out there. And on top of that,
one kick that I watched, I was very impressed. Like most college kickers don't be looking like that.
Yeah, seriously, is perfect. And that's with narrower field goals too at Memorial Stadium than he usually kicks in with high school. So absolute money.
But didn't we look this up and that high school and college were the same in NFL?
No, college.
College are the same. Yeah, NFL and college are the same. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like 5 feet narrower than high school.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 4 feet. Well, I guess
the argument we had was the NFL and college were different, right?
Yeah, we argued that all of them were different.
Mentally, a 5-foot narrower target, like that's got to get in your head as a kicker, right?
Dude,
not for Tristan Alvano.
Dude, imagine if you're putting and the cup just like got narrower like an inch. That's
a little different.
I would be so domed up over the ball. I get the yips every time.
All right. Moving on from the Nebraska football action. We'll get into some other reactions from this week. So Michigan had a close game against Illinois. They just pull it out, win 19-17 to keep their playoff hopes alive, because that would have just about dashed it. I didn't really get to catch most of this game because we were at the Husker game, obviously. But from what I saw, really close game. Chase Brown looked good. Blake Corum got injured, but still looks like he's gonna be fine. So
yeah, I was really
from what I
was really
saw,
surprised. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
Well, what I saw was Michigan. They just played it pretty smart the whole time. They had a bunch of chances they could have gone for it on like 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, and they just kept kicking the field goal, and eventually it paid off at the end when they won by 2. Also, huge shout out to Illinois for choking, giving Iowa the chance to go to the Big Ten championship again.
Yep.
Did you guys have you guys been following the drama that followed this game about the Brett Bielema was mad at the refs, said it was rigged for ratings, and
Oh, Headley, they got you. That's a fake quote.
what? That was
not-
fake?
That was not a real quote.
Bro, Twitter is fucking ridiculous these days. With the blue mark next to it, that sucks, man.
Yeah, because you can pay $8 to keep it verified.
Oh,
Dude,
God.
what? I thought
Jack
that
off,
was
stupid.
Oh, dude, that sucks. Twitter
No,
got me, man.
I wanted to say I was really surprised by this outcome just because of how bad Illinois has been playing lately. For Michigan to, kind of not play Michigan football. The fact that Blake Corum, I didn't get to see. Did Blake Corum play?
Yeah, he had 18
got hurt.
carries, 108 yards, 1 TD.
So he didn't have quite Blake Corum's stats that he normally does, but he still got to play. Chase Brown, I saw the one touchdown run. I think it was like 30 yards. That guy's dominant. But yeah, like you guys said, Illinois kind of shot themselves in the foot and gave Iowa a chance to go to the Big Ten championship. But I was just still surprised that Michigan wins with a game-winning field goal here.
Hey, I'm not completely crazy. Brett Bielema did acknowledge the play and kind of called out bad officiating on his official Twitter.
That
Yes.
last play though, like that was just one of the plays, and there was some other bad calls during that game on the other sides too.
Yeah, Big Ten refs, man.
I don't really think that was for ratings. Like when I was watching that play, I did not even notice that there's but obviously it could have been called offensive pass interference. But when I was watching it, I didn't even really notice. So
I think it's commendable for Harbaugh to run a play like that and just dare him to call it because most times they aren't going to.
That's just it is good coaching because like people don't call offensive pass interference very much.
No,
especially in that moment of a game.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this kind of speaks to the extremely weak schedule that Michigan has had so far this year. And I know that sucks saying that because the Big Ten is kind of down this year, but their non-con schedule was the worst in the country.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This to me makes it still impressive that they're undefeated, but it makes, and we'll get into this later too, but it makes TCU's record more impressive because they've had a definitively harder schedule than Michigan and Ohio State. And I feel like when Michigan and Ohio State get these close games, it's, I don't know, it's shrugged off. But then when
it's
TCU has
like,
a close
they
game,
had a bad game.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's like, oh, it's a bad week. But if TCU has a close game, oh, they're a bad team. So, but I don't know. I don't think Michigan's all that great of a team, but I still think they're one of the top 5 teams in the country.
I agree. Not everybody can play great. Outcomes this week kind of show that all good teams can't play great every week.
Yeah, exactly.
The biggest thing is they end up winning the game every time. So
yep.
Can't take that away from them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
11-0 is impressive no matter who they are. So that's for sure.
It is still very hard to do, I'll say.
Oh yeah, extremely hard to do.
But to say, I wish Brad was here because me and him were arguing about this game last week. How I said it was no way Michigan would lose the game, and then I ended up saying that that I thought Baylor was going to beat TCU, and we got in that whole argument, and we were both almost wrong, and then everything worked itself out.
Well, Headley, you were wrong.
About what?
TCU or Baylor winning.
Yeah.
So was Brad.
Brad was saying that Illinois could beat Michigan, and I said it was never going to happen, and it turned out to be really close.
That's true.
With that TCU discussion, great segue. What's up? You got something?
I was going to say both games ended in the same way too. Last second field goal.
Yeah, they both ended the same way.
We'll get into that TCU game now. Speaking of, they beat Baylor 29-28 on a last-second field goal. I was able to watch the highlights, and everyone who watched this game live, I was seeing, said it was one of the best games they've seen yet this year. And that final field goal for TCU was insane. But they end up nailing it and they stay undefeated and right in the race for the playoffs. So, I mean, what an unbelievable game, unbelievable win.
I have never seen a field goal unit run out like that while the clock is ticking and the field goal kicker still knocks it down. That was insane.
Nailed
That's
it.
the only highlight I saw of that entire game,
Yeah,
and I was impressed.
yeah. I had a parlay and I needed TCU to win. I only got to catch like the last few minutes of it, but glad I did because yeah, it was crazy. But TCU's kicker, he stood there with poise, even though there was like 10 seconds left. He still stayed calm and really just stayed calm and made the field goal. It was awesome.
That's almost Tristan Albano status.
He didn't speed himself up or anything and just shank one. It was
Yeah, he went out there. He
stuff.
didn't even like walk the
Yeah,
like
he did
steps to line it up.
back, he just got there.
Yeah,
He
that was
didn't
impressive.
line up
Deep
the
breath.
putt, just got over it and hit it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baby draw right up the middle.
Headley coming through with golf references for about
That's
every
my
game.
thing episode.
We all know I have the best baby draw though.
Yeah, man.
Baby
For
draw.
the viewers, he's never hit a draw.
I just hit hooks now.
It's the inverted baby draw, but it also draws a lot.
Inverted draw.
We
All
got
right.
that fixed.
We'll definitely get into more Michigan and TCU talk with the playoffs and sort of looking ahead to some championship game scenarios as well. So plenty more discussion to come there. Next, Iowa beats Minnesota 13-10. Huge result for your Hawkeyes, Connor. This was a great game, and Iowa did Iowa things, which is create turnovers and just pull the win out of nowhere. It seemed like.
Yeah, Iowa, they don't make it pretty ever, but they've been getting the job done lately. That's what counts.
Yeah, I didn't
Defense
get
is to stay in there, and
I didn't get to see anything from this game, but shout out to the Iowa defense because they definitely keep them in games.
Dude, I'm so pissed that your piece of shit team is just so good at being good. Like, what the hell? They just always end up being good. They're
That's
no
'cause
matter
that's
what, they're going
way
to be
they're-
good.
their coach is just don't make mistakes, play good defense, they play
Don't
good
make
special
mistakes.
teams.
That's the thing though, is in the West, if you just don't make mistakes, you're fine. Like,
You know, it's
Exactly.
funny though.
That's why
We didn't make
Correct.
mistakes
Only
against
gonna be average.
Wisconsin, and we still found a way to lose. So
that's
yeah,
true.
Iowa's done that too. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Iowa State should have won that game.
that's
They didn't
true.
really make it-
Iowa's
every game.
like,
That's not the Big Ten West though, Connor.
It's true. But Illinois. The only
Yeah,
mistake
no,
they
they-
made was
that-
not having an offense.
I was gonna say that Illinois game was the worst display of offense I've ever seen. So
That's
that
that is a
definitely-
mistake though on the team for not having an offense.
the crazy thing about this too is that the battle for the Floyd of Rosedale, PJ Fleck is now 0-5 against Iowa.
0-6.
0-6.
believe.
It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome. And ended the game with the pick six.
Should have
that
been.
was
yeah, that was
not
bad.
called. That was bullshit.
It's almost like the Big Ten has an agenda and they wanted Minnesota on top there.
How
Yeah,
about the,
they really got down to score like 2 times and there was 2 turnovers.
How funny would it be if Iowa wins the West and loses this Friday? That would be such a funny scenario.
How does that scenario even play out?
Well,
If
Iowa,
Iowa-
yeah, Max probably knows it better.
Oh yeah, if Iowa loses and Purdue, then Purdue and Illinois would have to lose, and Iowa would still go.
Purdue's playing like Northwestern, right? Or is that Illinois?
Purdue's playing Indiana, Illinois is playing Northwestern, so
That would
they
have
both
to-
should
that
win.
was-
Iowa has to win this game.
A lot can
I'm
happen
nervous.
in the Big Ten West.
Nah,
still.
dude, the scenario I'm cheering for is Nebraska wins on Friday and Iowa still goes to the Big Ten tournament or championship. That would be so funny.
That would be funny, but I wouldn't even want to play.
We
I'd
So that'd
barely
be a-
want
It would be even more painful for Iowa
A
fans.
5-loss team
Yeah.
versus undefeated Big Ten East.
And
like-
they're deflated because they just lost to Nebraska. Like, that
Yeah,
would
I want to
just-
go to the Big Ten championship just because, like, obviously, why would you want your team to go? But like, I'm not like gonna expect anything. And if they go and lose to Nebraska, then somehow still made the Big Ten championship, I would just like not even want to watch the game a little bit.
Can we talk about the 0 penalties in this game? The first time that's happened in a
Yeah.
college football game since 1986, Army versus Navy.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That's pretty crazy. I don't know if that should have happened because I definitely thought I saw some penalties on both sides that just weren't called, but
Oh yeah.
probably because it was so cold and the refs just wanted to go home.
I
Let
like
them-
that though.
Just let them play, man.
It is, yeah, as long as there's nothing like huge, just let them play, you know. But there's definitely some holdings on both sides that definitely could have been called.
That win also moves Kirk Ferentz into a tie 3rd all time in Big Ten wins as head coach. So
Oh, is this trivia
Pretty-
gonna be who's 1 and 2?
yeah, who is 1 and 2?
Oh, I don't even know.
I
Is
have
it
no- I have
Joe
no
Pa?
guesses.
No, you guys wouldn't. I don't think you guys
Joe
would know. these.
Paterno?
It's like
No.
something.
Is he even close?
Woods, something Woods.
Woody Hayes,
Yeah, Wood.
Ohio
Woody
State.
Hayes. I knew it was
Woody Hayes,
something,
and
with,
then-
something to do with Morningwood.
who's number 2?
All right.
Woody
Number 2
Hayes.
is
I bet Patrick or Pat Fitzgerald is up there. Is he like he's got to be kind of far up there, right?
he's got to be. He's probably is up there, but not in this discussion.
Yeah.
Joe Paterno.
No, because all of Joe Paterno's wins got vacated.
Oh, well, what was he at?
That was
I don't know.
Yeah,
Fun
Yeah,
fact
'cause
is
because of
in-
the incident.
in
Yeah,
2011 when
incident,
the
incident.
in 2011 when the Big Ten was getting the championship game for the first time in history, or 2011, they were going to name the Big Ten championship trophy after Joe Paterno, and then they quickly did not do that.
Why did they change their minds?
Just think some things came up.
There might have been something that happened with Penn State, but I'm not too sure.
See,
why.
Well-
it's just because Joe Paterno was too good of a dude.
Oh god. It's anyway, number 2 is Bo Schembechler from Michigan. So but moving on, South Carolina absolutely routs Tennessee 63-38. I don't know if you guys were able to catch any of this game,
Oh,
but Tennessee's
That
defense
was
bad.
bad defense.
hey, who else in here? Be honest, was cheering for Spencer Rattler.
Oh yeah. I was cheering
was
for
awesome.
South Carolina to win, yeah.
I was cheering for Spencer Rattler. I never thought I'd do that, but he played great.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
cool.
I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Hendo Hookah got hurt.
Yeah, ACL out for the season. That's
I
big.
think a lot of it has to do with the fact they give up 69,000 million points.
Well, when did he get injured? What quarter was it?
I think it was second half.
Oh,
I mean, I think they're already kind of out of it.
yeah,
Oh yeah, they were getting beat. And he,
yeah. I mean, you can't give up that many points and expect to be in any game.
No. That is the 3rd largest loss in history for a team that was favored by 21 or greater. And I believe that's the most that an unranked team has scored over a top 5 team in over 100 years. So
Dang.
Wow.
pretty rarefied air there for Tennessee. That also completely puts a kibosh on their playoff hopes. They're definitely not in the running anymore. So that's kind of nice, actually. Things are starting to take care of themselves. After that, though, let's get to Bedlam. Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State 28-13. I don't really have much else to say about this game except for it was one of the worst football games I've ever watched. It was just
Gosh.
it was really bad football.
It was
Yeah.
It sucked.
the only bet I made this entire weekend was on Oklahoma State. And then it was over like within a minute. And I didn't even watch the rest of it.
And then they held them scoreless the rest of the game. But then the Cowboys couldn't score.
Yeah,
That's
Oklahoma
right. Didn't
State's
they-
just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oklahoma
just-
State's bad. Oklahoma's bad. That was really bad football.
Both of my future bets for conference championships got ended last night with Oklahoma State losing and with Utah losing later.
Yeah, I also did both of those, sadly. So I feel you.
It's tough.
Yeah, tough indeed. That's good for that game though, because it was pretty bad. Next, USC UCLA. This is a big win for USC. Keeps them in that playoff hunt. Keeps them alive What clinches their Pac-12 championship game berth, but yeah, keeps them alive for the playoff. So
Yeah,
We gotta
huge for
talk
USC.
We got to talk about the uniform matchup. That was just like the prettiest my television screen has ever been was during that game. Like both those uniforms were just awesome, and it was a great game.
yeah, that has to be the number one uniform matchup in the country, probably.
They looked pretty out there
Yeah, in the Rose Bowl too.
in the Rose Bowl. Dang, the boys look nice.
And then the second part of the Pac-12 special, as we called it, Oregon beats Utah 20-17. In a lower scoring game than you might imagine, but a good win for the Ducks nonetheless. Keeps the Pac-12 championship game scenario very interesting for this weekend.
Yeah, huge win for the Ducks to bounce back after the tough loss to Washington. Utah, Cameron Rising, very good quarterback. It's hard, even though Utah's kind of had an off year, it's very hard to keep him in check, especially since that's a huge game every year for Oregon.
Yeah, huge win for the Ducks there. Shout out to them for hitting my final parlay of the night. I didn't get to watch it because I was out drinking, but they made me happy when I was checking SportsCenter every 10 seconds. Shout out Ducks. Quack.
Quack, quack.
Shout out Ducks.
Hey, Duck Dynasty missed the Ducks this week, so.
You guys have anything else from this past week? And I know Arkansas got a huge win over Ole Miss. Interestingly enough, in that game, Ole Miss had 463 rush yards, and they still lost 42-27. Not sure how that's possible.
That's surprising. I didn't even know that. That was Iowa gave up like 310 rush yards, and they also won.
That one guy had all of them, didn't he? What was his name?
Mo Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, yeah, dude.
He had like 280 of them, of like the 310.
Another game that I wanted to point out here, Vanderbilt beats Florida, and they had back-to-back conference wins.
Vanderbilt beat Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got 2 wins in a row now.
Oh my god.
They routed Florida.
Yeah.
It was like 40-24 or something like
they're
that.
They're 5-6 now, looking to get to a bowl game.
Gonna beat Tennessee.
Who do they have to beat to get to a bowl game?
Tennessee.
It's Tennessee.
Hey,
The
Tennessee
baseball matchup, dude. Oh my gosh.
In-state rivalry.
Dude, I wonder. I mean, those tickets probably aren't going for much. Their baseball tickets this season were going for like $400 a piece.
I'm sure they're still going for quite a bit.
Vanderbilt, you think?
Well, there's gonna be a ton of Tennessee fans there.
Yeah.
It's in Nashville. I mean, Tennessee, Vandy's in Nashville. In-state rivalry. Well, something.
I bet
Anyways,
they're more expensive than Iowa, Nebraska tickets.
Yep. I don't know. Anyways, is that all you guys have for this past week?
Yeah, I'm ready to keep going.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's get into our playoff rankings real quick. I know there's maybe some mix-up this week with Tennessee going down, USC getting a big win. So, do you guys want to start it from?
I think we can all agree on our top. Actually, we probably aren't all going to agree.
Yeah, let's just go through them all.
Okay, you guys want to start with 6 and 5 like we did last time?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll start. I got 6 LSU, 5 USC.
I agree, X.
Wow.
I agree. I got LSU 6, USC 5, even though the playoff rankings have those two flip-flopped.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get some hate for this one, but I got Alabama and LSU as my 5-6.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right.
I got LSU 6, USC 5 as well.
Wow, Headley, you fucking suck.
Heavy. The Alabama plays a non-conference game and they get boosted to 6. Are you kidding me?
Well, certain team lost.
Hey, they just beat Austin P. All right.
What a cupcake game. What a cupcake game.
That is huge.
By the way.
4, I got Michigan.
4, I got TCU still.
I got TCU at 4 as well. Wait, no. I've got Michigan at 4.
I was gonna say.
That's
you're the guy who was pissed about it, but I got TCU at 4.
I got Ohio State 3.
I got Michigan 3.
I got Ohio State 3.
Got Michigan 3.
I have TCU at 2, and then we just Georgia at 1.
Yeah, I got Ohio State 2, Georgia 1.
I got TCU 2, then Georgia.
Ohio State and Georgia for me as well.
Okay. Headley, why do you have?
Sorry, I need to rework mine. I was looking at a list of the actual playoff ranking next to my own list. I need USC in. I mean, USC needs to be in the 5-6 range, but I don't. Then I gotta drop Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama should not be in there. Why should Alabama be?
Alabama, aren't they like 8th right now?
7th, I think. 7th or 8th.
Yeah, they're 7th. Yeah.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4. I feel like are pretty interchangeable still.
I borderline put Clemson at 6 and LSU out at 7.
Yeah, I agree. I think Clemson is 7.
Yeah, I have Clemson 7. I don't. The problem is I really don't think Clemson is all that great of a team. But LSU's losses against Florida State, and they lost 40-13 at home against Tennessee. Like that's just terrible. And those 2 losses,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's really bad.
Which is why I still struggle to put them at 6. I hate how the committee has them at 5.
Yeah,
I
I don't agree with that.
Cannot stand that. Those are 2 bad losses. And you're saying then that if they beat Georgia and SC championship and they're in 100% and they're ahead of USC, I don't know. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the logic.
Yeah, this is a huge week. For the college football playoff rankings because Ohio State, Michigan play.
Yeah,
and that's going to drop one of those two teams out of the top 4. So, be interesting next week what we all think.
I still struggle with you guys having TCU down at 4, because their strength of schedule is 40 spots higher than Michigan and 20 spots higher than Ohio State. Their strength of record is number 1 in the country. And we just saw Ohio State struggle with Maryland, and we saw Michigan struggle with Illinois.
Hey, I said this last week after Ohio State and Michigan play. I'm probably gonna have TCU at 2.
Well, yeah, because one of them are gonna lose. My reason is that I just seen them play, and it's just like, yeah, they've played good teams, but they're just barely winning. And I feel like that they go play one of these teams, and they're gonna get beat.
Yeah.
I think they would lose to Ohio State or Michigan. That's why I have them at 4.
I said, I feel like they're pretty interchangeable, and I could definitely also put TCU at 3 or 2 as well.
Yeah, no,
it's
I
Big
agree.
10 bias, you know.
Dude,
Big
I'm
10
really
bias.
I'm concerned about Michigan after last week. I don't know. And then looking back at their schedule, they have not played anyone.
Yeah,
Penn State. Penn State's their 11th in the country now. Penn State, I feel bad for them. They're getting no attention this year. They're a pretty decent football team, but they had to play Ohio State and Michigan. But yeah. Michigan is I don't know about them. I'm really excited to see this game this week.
It's going to be tough for Michigan because they always get off with a slow start. Ohio State comes out throwing punches right away. So Michigan's got to have their A game on.
Yeah, I can agree with all that. I think, I don't know. We'll have plenty to talk about playoff scenario wise after this weekend, heading into championship game. That's going to give us a lot of clarity. But things are getting on the wire. That Tennessee loss takes them out. LSU, USC, Clemson all squarely in the hunt. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. And a huge weekend this weekend, obviously, for these teams, especially Ohio State, Michigan. You guys want to get into the tank and bank?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So my bank goes to the West Side kicker, Tristan Alvano.
Dude, that's my bank as well. That's my bank as well, dude.
And the game winner.
For high school, that would definitely be my bank of the week. College-wise, my bank of the week was Vanderbilt going back-to-back SEC wins.
It's a good one.
Yeah, Tristan Alvano. Welcome to Nebraska. I heard he's on the roster now, right? Pretty much. Like, that's a bank performance.
He got offered a scholarship, but he probably just go somewhere else.
I hope he
That's
stays.
like, oh, it's such a bank performance. Game winner, and he scores 15 points in the championship.
And then the next morning, it's a full ride
That,
offer from
yeah, dude,
Nebraska.
that's
And
crazy.
probably tons of blowges.
Probably tons of blood. That guy's got to
Alright.
be pinching himself right now.
Nonetheless, my bank of the week, I got USC. Huge win for them, keeping them in playoff contention there.
It's solid.
Yeah, dude. Honorable mention for my bank of the week is Caleb Williams, man. That guy,
He's
he
good.
played good.
Yeah, Heisman front runner.
I'm still surprised they lost though to earlier this season because they're good.
Utah,
They're a good team.
The only problem is USC's defense is still a little-
Defense. It's just
Yeah.
their offense is like they're scoring.
Yeah.
Every time.
All right, my tank of the week. This was a pretty easy choice for me personally. Is Tennessee. Just getting routed by an unranked team as a top 5 team and completely giving away any hope that you have for the playoff. That was brutal. So
My tank of the week is Nebraska in the fourth quarter. You cannot lose a game up 14-3, no matter what factors are going on in the game.
Yeah, and Max, it looks like we've got the same tank and bank. I mean, I thought Tennessee was a pretty obvious tank this week, this awful performance. But I also have some honorable mentions down here. One of them is Zane Flores recruiting and Scott Frost. Why did we not offer him anything? Also, Nebraska. I also have Memorial Stadium. That was the most empty I've ever seen the stadium in my life. That was a tank.
Yes, definitely a tank for the
Sold out,
Southside
though.
student section.
Sold out though.
the Iowa fan brings up the
Yeah.
sellout stream. Look at this.
There was
I
no
also
one there though.
I also had Tennessee with you guys there. Absolute
I mean, that
tank.
was just a tank.
It was just a tank.
Yeah, it was terrible. That was
As
terrible.
Max showed with the stats earlier.
Dude,
Brutal.
Also, like, I just want to talk. I mean, Illinois didn't really tank. On paper, doesn't look like they tanked against Michigan. That's a good team. But this stretch of games, man,
They didn't.
Oh,
they didn't tank. They
God.
choked.
they tanked week after week. I think
Yeah.
repetitive tanks is maybe I don't know. But they sucked.
They went tank, and then they went played good and choked.
Yeah,
Which you could call a
they're
tank
just
if you wanted.
nice tank job from Illinois over
Nice.
the last month.
A nice TJ.
Yeah,
Tell you,
I hate when I'm getting a TJ.
Brett Bielema was tanking on some Golden Corral after the game. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he's got to get his contract money worth.
20,000 calories worth at Golden Corral right after the game, baby.
All right, let's get into a preview of this week, though. It is rivalry week, which is awesome. Absolutely love rivalry week in college football. We'll start off with the game, literally the game. Number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State. Buckeyes are favored by 8.5, unless that's 7.5 now. And just a huge game. Winner of this wins the Big Ten East, goes to the Big Ten championship game, puts himself in a really good spot to play a crappy Big Ten West team and go to the playoff. So a rivalry game, it doesn't get any bigger than this.
I agree, Max. Winner of this game basically solidifies himself a Big Ten championship. You know, the West is not great this year. Both of those teams will easily beat whoever wins the Big Ten West, especially if it's Iowa after last year's performance. Granted, they have a good defense. Their offense cannot keep up. But yeah, this huge game for either team. You know, it's anybody's ball game, especially how bad the teams have played the past couple of weeks. So huge game, especially for the Big Ten to get a team into the playoffs.
This game is huge, man. It's so fun. It's one of the best games every year. You know, Michigan's kind of like, in our lifetime at least, Michigan's kind of felt like the little brother to Ohio State, and they feel like they're starting to flip the script here, which is fun to watch. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Ohio State's going to beat them.
Yeah, this is the. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
I was going to say I'm with him there. I think that Ohio State's going to beat them.
I'm hoping maybe the spread goes down another half a point, then I pounce.
This is the first time that these two teams are meeting, both 11-0 since 2006. That 06
Well, yeah,
game.
that's why the Big Ten was not calling penalties against Michigan, because they needed to set up this game. I'm citing Brett Bielema on that.
Yeah, I think this will most definitely be the most viewed college football game of the year. At least top 3 right there with Georgia, Tennessee, and Tennessee, Alabama. But yeah, just as big as it gets. Like I said, it's rare that you get a top 5 matchup, undefeated teams, especially the last week of the season, 2 11-0 teams, ranked 2 and 3. So excited for this. This is what's great about college football.
I agree. I'm so excited for this game more than the Iowa-Nebraska game. So I'm, it's going to be a good game no matter what. Whoever comes out, it's going to be definitely deserving of this win.
And with that, we can take a quick look at Nebraska, Iowa. Hawkeyes favored by 10.5. Over-unders at 38.5. This one's in Iowa City. I don't really know how this one's going to play out. It's going to be tough for Nebraska to score on that Iowa defense. But I think Nebraska's defense has been playing much better as of late. So I think they can have a good performance against Petrus. So I don't know. I'll be looking for the Nebraska defense to keep Iowa to a very minimal amount of points. Give our offense a break.
I think Iowa's offense has been playing better as of late, but Sam Laporta is going to be out for the game, which is good for Nebraska, our best offensive player.
Yeah, the defense is really, for both sides of the ball, is going to keep their teams in the game. Both offenses have had an off year all year. Iowa's defense is very difficult, and I am worried about our offensive line in this game if we're going to give Casey enough time to even throw a ball this entire game. I feel like we're going to have to be a lot, be run heavy, try to control the game, have more time of possession than Iowa to even keep ourselves in it. But I think Iowa is, I wish I could say I think Nebraska will win this game, but I think Iowa's they got too much going for them right now. Nebraska's kind of tossing things around.
Yeah, Iowa's rolling. They're playing good now.
Yeah.
Earlier this week, I was dreading this football game, but the more I've thought about it, I've realized that this is a win-win for Nebraska. It's either they win the game somehow miraculously, or they lose and they reach. I think, guys, I think that if they lose this game, it will actually be rock bottom. I don't think we can get lower. I really don't think.
Well, then, wasn't their record worse last year?
No, they went 3-9 last year. This year's 3-9 includes a loss to 1-11 Northwestern and a loss to Georgia Southern. I don't think we can get lower than this year.
Yeah, last year was more painful, but this year is definitively a worse team.
Oh, 100%. I really think that we can finally achieve rock bottom, and then you can only get better.
And no matter what, if we win or lose this game, at least in the next day or two, we should know who our next head coach is going to be.
And the season's over after this. Thank God.
Yeah.
For me, it's a nervous game because, Nebraska, they stay in games. But Nebraska is just good at losing. So that's also like
the best of it.
It also helps me feel better about it. But I know it's going to be a close game. I think Nebraska will cover.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd be very surprised if this wasn't a close game. It usually is.
It's just a rivalry game. It's always been a close game, except for a couple of years in the past 7.
Yeah, if you guys,
the past 3 or 4 have been won by a field goal.
Yeah, there's been 2 Iowa blowouts and then a bunch of field goal games. That's why Kirk is who he is, because he wins those games.
I'm interested if you guys were odds makers, what odds would you give Iowa's defense or special teams scoring a touchdown this game?
Probably minus 100.
I don't think you can go minus, but I think it's plus 200.
Yeah, it's plus.
Oh, sorry, sorry, plus. Not minus. I meant plus 200-ish.
Yeah, I'd give it a plus. Yeah, around plus 220, something like that.
Which that's just insane. I feel like they're gonna block a punt. They're gonna pick 6. scoop
They
and
did
score or
last year.
something like that. Yeah, yeah.
At least, what are the odds for them to create a turnover?
Oh,
Oh,
that's gotta be
minus-
minus 800, minus
Minus
900.
800.
I mean, I'd go like minus like 400.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Really?
more around the 400s.
Does Iowa have a game this year when they didn't force a turnover?
I don't know off the top of my head, probably, but they force a turnover most games.
Their defense scores most games.
They do have one of the highest scoring defenses in the nation.
What other games are you guys? I don't know if you've looked at the slate a ton, but what other games are you guys looking forward to this weekend? I know it's rivalry week.
I
but
know. I got the Iron Bowl just because it's the Iron Bowl. Auburn is terrible, but it's still the Iron Bowl, and it's one of the most hyped up games most of the times.
yeah, this is the most
Hopefully Auburn
disappointing
just
Iron Bowl
beats
in a long
Alabama
time.
Somehow.
I'm really looking forward to, and we got in our picks, Oregon State, the Civil War. Huge Pac-12 championship implications, ranked matchup. I think that's gonna be a really fun game, and those two schools obviously hate each other, so I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
I have another game in the Pac-12. I have Washington State. If Washington wins this game and Oregon loses the Civil War, Washington is in the Pac-12 championship. Because they would both be 10-2, I believe.
Well, so here, I'll get it pulled up here because I have all the scenarios. So we can just go through that right now. For the Pac-12, if Oregon beats Oregon State, they're in no matter what, or a Washington loss, then Oregon is in because USC is clinched. So it's going to be USC versus that. For Washington to get in, they need to beat Washington State, and they need Oregon to lose, and they need either Cal to beat UCLA or Colorado to beat Utah. So Washington does have
A
They need
chance.
they have a chance. They need a lot of things to work for them though.
Yeah.
And then Utah needs a win over Colorado, which that'll happen, plus an Oregon loss, plus a Washington win, plus a UCLA win.
Wow.
So the Pac-12 is still very complex. It's USC versus either Oregon, Washington, or Utah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then we can run through the other Power 5 conferences real quick.
Well,
the
SEC
SEC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
SEC is already
SEC
clinched.
is set, so that's LSU and Georgia. The ACC is set. That's Clemson and North Carolina, which is a huge game for Clemson. They'll need to win this weekend and next to get in the playoff. The Big 12 is TCU versus either Kansas State or Texas. I really hope it's K-State. I want to see that rematch again.
That'd be a good game.
Yeah, that would be awesome. If Kansas State beats Kansas, then they clinch. However, if Kansas State loses, Texas would go to the Big 12 championship with a win over Baylor. So Texas needs to win
7-4 Texas. Wow.
Yeah, Texas needs to win and they need a K-State loss.
Wow.
And then last but not least is the Big 10, which is for the East. Neither division has been decided in the Big 10. It's the only conference with both divisions outstanding still. Winner of Michigan, Ohio State is in for the East. And then the West, if Iowa wins, they're in. But if Iowa loses, then
Who's first, right?
yeah, Purdue would win the division with a win. Illinois still has a shot with a win over Northwestern, and both Iowa and Purdue lose.
And if Iowa loses and both them lose, then Iowa's still
Yes.
in.
There's
Which
a
would be
lot
hilarious.
of scenarios in the West.
That would be hilarious. And I would even watch the Big Ten championship then.
The Big 10 and the Pac-12 are definitely the most complex.
I'm just kidding. I would still 100% watch it.
Yeah, it comes down to Iowa, Purdue, or Illinois, which is just crazy.
Those are not teams you would normally talk about in that conversation.
No, well, I mean, Iowa, they won it last year. But they,
Yeah, But how they played last year to this year is different.
Yeah.
Not really. Actually, not really that much different.
Well, their offense is
You watch the
dramatically
season.
worse.
I wouldn't even say dramatically. The only thing that's different about this Iowa offense and last Iowa offense is their shit ass offensive line. Still had Petrus. Wide receivers, exact same. Running game was a little bit better because of the O-line, but not much different.
All right. Anyway, do you guys want to get into the game of the week before we get into picks and everything? The game of the week
We
is
all know
Michigan,
the
Ohio
game of the
State. Yeah,
week.
the game. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll do besides that one. Besides Michigan, Ohio State, I kind of got two that I can't decide. Like I said, that Oregon State Oregon game is going to be awesome, and then USC Notre Dame, the night game, huge game for USC, obviously to stay alive for the playoff. Gonna be a ton of fun.
I didn't have any other games of the week besides Michigan Ohio State, so count me out
Fair.
on this.
Sure.
I just have the game and Nebraska season being over.
Yeah, I got the Michigan Ohio State game, obviously, but Iowa Nebraska because I'm nervous, boys, because I got a lot more riding on it.
Hey, I just want the season to be over so we can finally put our attention toward Nebraska basketball.
Creighton basketball.
Well, Nebraska just beat Arkansas Pines Bluff.
Oh, wow.
That's big time. That's big time.
Arkansas Pine Bluff almost beat TCU.
Yeah, that is true. All right, now before we get into our predictions and all that, I am going to give a record update. So last week things went much better than they have been going for most of us, at least. So let's see what happened here. We had a winner in solo first place last week, Connor, 11-2, great week.
Thank you.
And then we had 3 people end up at 10-3 with Bradley, myself, and Isaiah. And then we had 2 at 9-4, Headley and Devin. And then our special guest, Francisco, 8-5, narrowly missing out on a tie there for last. But either
Francisco,
I'm just glad I wasn't last.
take the L, buddy.
Hey, at least everybody went positive this week. That's a huge thing.
Yeah. Shout out to Bradley, hit his lock, Illinois plus 18. And Connor, we got our lock, Iowa plus 3. Good stuff. Brad also
50%.
Yes.
I haven't hit a lock.
Not no 9-3,
weeks,
not no 9-3, but
So let's get into the season
I
record
haven't
update.
hit a lock in 5 weeks, man.
Yeah, it's been
5
weeks
tough. Straight.
And your
like
record is
3
showing
weeks for
that.
me.
So first place is still Brad. First place by 1 game. He has 95 wins. I'm next with 94. Then Isaiah with 93. So really close. And then Connor with 92. So everyone's in a game of each other. Slipping back a little bit, but still in it. Headley with 90 wins, 5 games back from first place. And then Devin bringing up the rear there, 85 wins.
And this is where we say, Headley, what happened?
And we can say that for his locks too, because he is now tied for last place in locks
I cannot hit a lock.
at 4-8. Bradley and Headley are both 4-8 in locks, bringing up the rear in that aspect. And then we have a tie next with Isaiah and Devin, both at 5-7, trying to get back to 50%, close. Connor, you get back in the 50%, 6-6.
I'm just like right in the race in every category, basically, except for locks. Not in the race, but still at the top.
But doing good in second. And then in first place, myself, I am 9-3 on the year in locks. If you want to make yourself some money, just
how many have you
spend
bet
more
on
on
though, Max?
Huh? How many have I actually bet on?
Yeah.
Just 1.
It's probably one of his lost weeks.
No, I
We
won
have
that one.
big units.
I know I'd be up massive units. I need to start betting on my lock. Noted for next season. Though.
That's the point of it.
I know. Well, I don't really. I like to bet on FanDuel, and we're in an illegal betting state because.
So illegally bet.
I know.
Like your boy.
And then the underdog. Brad's still leading the way there. 5-3-4, 5 wins, 3 losses, 4 covers. Then Connor is 4-4-4. And then who do we got? Headley 3-6-3, doing pretty good. And then I'm next at 2-8-2. Got those 2 wins, saving my butt. And then Isaiah and Devin last, only 1 win in the wins for or in the underdog. So
Brad are in a race.
Shout out to Illinois for being my one underdog win of the year.
Hey,
Shout out,
nice.
Shout out to Liberty last week for me accidentally picking favorite. Favorite of the
So
week.
anyway, that is a pick record update. Everything's really close in the straight up picks. So that's gonna be fun to see how that comes down as we wind down the season. But anyway, with that, we can get into our picks for this year, for this week. And I'll introduce our special guest. So we got Nate Weibel joining us. Nate,
How's
you
it
there?
going?
Let's
Hey, Nate.
go.
Hey,
What's up, guys?
What's up, Nader?
How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Good.
Great, man. Do you have a underdog and a lock, right?
I do.
Awesome. So
Okay.
we will should I type the order here?
I got it.
Okay. So there you go. Yeah, Isaiah's typing the order there. We'll start with the locks this week. So I am going to go in-state rivalry, Louisville and Kentucky. I really like where Louisville's at. So I like the +3 for the Cards.
Let's go, baby. Louisville. I got the same one there, Max. I'm loving it.
sorry guys, I just got back. Is lock of the week?
Where's the order at there?
Okay. I've got a really great lock this week. I'm 4-8. I got Nebraska 10.5
I like that.
to cover. There's no
That's
way
good for me.
Nebraska. There's no way Nebraska loses by more than 10 points. And if we do, even further toward rock bottom our goal so that we can ascend next year.
All right. Is it my lock then?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
All right. I got a little bit different one here. I'm going Army over UMass here.
UMass does suck.
Okay. Yes, they do suck. Army coming out, little triple option, run the ball, burn the clock, score some touchdowns, win this game.
Wait,
What's the spread on that?
Yeah,
20,
you got them covering the
20.
spread.
covering 20.
Okay,
nice.
Nice pick.
I like it. For me, I got the Ohio State versus Michigan over at 55.5. I was
don't
doing
like
my
that.
research. 8 of the last 10 years has been over that number. I like it again.
I like
don't.
that.
And I love that Headley doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ohio
Headley-
State
I
has
don't
scored
like that.
over 42 points, I think, in every game except for 2 this year, and 1 was in severe weather. And I believe Michigan will put up some points.
Okay.
So I like that. I like
Nice.
it.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good. Now we can get into our underdogs. So +6.5 or greater dog. I'm gonna go with a team that's hot against a team that is not. Give me Vanderbilt +14 against Tennessee. They're gonna get bowl eligible. This is a much bigger game for Vandy than it is for Tennessee. Tennessee season's done and Hooker's out. No playoff chances. Vandy has 2 wins in a row and they're seeking bowl eligibility. Commodores are getting the outright win.
I like that, Max. Especially since Hendon Hooker's not playing. But my underdog of the week is Baylor +8.5 over Texas.
Nice. I've got my underdog as West Virginia. They're 8.5 dogs against Oklahoma State, and I'm citing that Oklahoma State sucks.
I like that.
All right, for my upset pick, I'm going Coastal Carolina over James Madison. Coastal Carolina is fighting for the #1 spot in the Sun Belt to compete for the Sun Belt championship with James Madison. James Madison's a 13.5 point favorite. So taking Grayson McCall and Coastal Carolina in an upset.
Is that +13.5?
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. I love the group of 5 picks, Nate. For me, I got NC State +6.5 against North Carolina. I'm hoping
Just
their
taking that
defense.
6.5.
No, I'm also a lot better at underdog picks than you. I'm
Dude,
second place behind Brad with 4-4-4 record.
coward pick.
I got NC State plus 6.5 because I think that they have a good chance to win this game, Headley, because they have a good defense to stop North Carolina's good offense, and North Carolina has a bad defense.
It's true. Connor, real quick, what's your lock again? I'm trying to get that typed in.
Ohio State, Michigan, over 55.5.
Gotcha. All right, now we can get into our outright picks here. For rivalry week, we got a Thursday Thanksgiving night matchup. This is the Egg Bowl, Mississippi State at now number 20, Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored by 2.5. And I think this is going to be a really close game, but I do like Ole Miss to pull the win off here at home.
I agree, Max. I have Ole Miss. They've had some tough weeks of football, but they're still a pretty dominant team. And Mississippi State hasn't really shown anything all year, so I got Ole Miss.
I got Ole Miss as well. They're at home. They've got a little bit of coaching rumors going on, but I think that they still play a good game. They win this one.
I also got Ole Miss here. Sorry, Nate. Sorry.
No,
Whoa.
Wow. Connor
Normally-
always
normally
forgets
I'm
you.
after
Dude,
Headley.
that's -1
Normally
on
I'm
the
after-
record.
Nah. We can do -1 on the skipping people record.
Suck, man.
Okay, go ahead, Nate.
I got Ole Miss as well. They just run dominant offense. Mississippi State struggles to stop the run, struggles on third down. Ole Miss, I think, runs away with this one late.
Me, Ole Miss. I won't
Good
skip you again, Nate. I promise.
It's okay. I forget you.
I'm
Now we
good
get
at
into
doing- I do
some-
this most time every week to our guest picker. So
And then we get into our Friday action, a top 25 group of 5 matchup here in the American Conference. Number 19, Tulane, taking on number 24, Cincinnati. The winner of this game clinches home field for the American Conference Championship game. So that's big in that aspect. I think at home, Cincinnati's been really good. So I'll take Cincinnati to win this game.
Fake game. But I also have the Bearcats winning this game.
I've got Tulane because I like their mascot, the Green Wave.
Green Wave.
I got Cincinnati in that one. Close one.
Yeah, I'm going with the group of 5. Master Nate Weibel here. Give me Cincinnati.
That's a great pick. That's
Okay, as we know, Fade Headley. So
Now we got a Baylor at Texas game. Texas sneaks their way back into the rankings as we just saw tonight. They're favored by 8.5. I think that line is maybe a little too big, but I do like Texas to win outright still.
I agree, Max. I'm very surprised that the line is this big, but I do have Texas as well.
Yeah, I've got Texas in this one.
I'll stop the curse here if everyone rolls with Texas. I'll take Baylor in this one on the road with an upset.
I got Texas as well.
All right, now Florida at Florida State. This is the night game for Friday, 6:30 kickoff Central Time. Florida State favored by 9.5. Obviously, Florida's loss last week was pretty bad, so give me the Seminoles to win this one.
Both of these teams have been awful all year. Florida had the bad loss last week to Vanderbilt. But yeah, I'm going Seminoles here. Florida's just really bad this year.
Yeah, you don't just lose to Vanderbilt. I've got not Florida in this one.
Yeah, I got Florida State big in this one at home. Struggling Florida team. Win big.
Give me the Seminoles.
Now we are going to save the Nebraska-Iowa game for the last pick, as we usually do. So we'll move into Saturday now. Kansas at Kansas State. Wildcats favored by 12. And I think they win this game. I think Kansas has kind of been falling off recently, so I like the Wildcats, especially if Will Howard plays.
Yeah, I agree, Max. Kansas is already bowl eligible, so they don't need another win. So I got Kansas State here.
Yeah, I get Kansas State as well. They've looked good every game I've watched this season, and Kansas sucks.
K-State keeps it rolling.
Give me the Wildcats.
Fair enough. Everyone going with Kansas State there. Next, the Apple Cup. Number 13, Washington, favored by 2.5 at Washington State. This is always a really fun rivalry. Kind of underrated too, I think. I'm going to go with Washington, though. This line surprised me, which scares me to pick Washington because Vegas might know something, but I'll still stick with the Huskies.
Yeah, this is always like a really big matchup that is kind of underrated every year, just because both teams aren't always great. But yeah, I'm sticking with the Huskies here. The line is what, 2.5. That could be the fact that it's at Washington State, but I think Washington's gonna easily cover that.
Yeah, I hate picking the away team in these close spread games, but I've got Washington.
I got Washington as well. Close game.
All right, boys, I'm fading you. I
fade.
got Wazoo
Wazoo.
at home.
I like the fade there, Connor. That's a good play.
It wasn't a purpose fade, but that's just how the cookie crumbled.
Next, the Civil War. Oregon at Oregon State, ranked matchup. It's rare we get a ranked matchup in this game, but it's super fun when we do. A lot of hatred between these two schools. I think both these teams are just as close to being undefeated as one another. Like, they both have really close losses. I'm going to go with Oregon State here at home. I think the Beavers get the win.
Wow, that's a very surprising pick, Max. I'm sticking with the Ducks here after I picked them last week to win.
Yeah, I got the Ducks as well.
I trust Bo Nix. Give me the Ducks.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ducks. -3 was almost my lock of the week for them there, but I didn't decide to do it. But I'll give them the money line.
Oregon State has the best defense in the Pac-12. I think they can put in some work on Bo Nix. It's kind of funny. A lot of these games we have like one person going the other way. So interesting. Next, the in-state rivalry, Louisville and Kentucky. Louisville finds themselves in the rankings all of a sudden. Kentucky favored by 3.5. I'm gonna go with Louisville. I think they're the better team right now.
You guys already know who I'm gonna pick. Louisville Cardinals, baby.
Yeah, I've been a fan of the Cardinals for pretty much my whole life, so I'm gonna pick them as well. Go Louisville.
Fuck you, Headley.
I'm gonna go with Kentucky. I got trust Will Levis in this one. Got to get his stock back up after a couple of tough games. So give me Levis and the Wildcats.
If I'm with you, Nate, I got Levis and the Wildcats here, and I'm with Vegas on this one for a close game.
The home field advantage could be the difference there. Now the spread pick of the week. It's not the biggest spread of the week, but I had to include the Iron Bowl in some way I could. Definitely kind of disappointing this year with how bad Auburn is, because this is usually one of those awesome rivalry games. But does Alabama cover the 21.5 points? I'm going to say just barely that they don't. I think rivalry game, Auburn can keep it close enough for a while, slow down the tempo. So I don't think they quite cover.
Sorry to you Auburn fans. Your team is horrible this year. Alabama is going to roll over you, and they are going to cover.
I've got Alabama to cover in this. This is their last game before the postseason starts, and this is their last chance to show off maybe why they should make a case for themselves in the playoffs. So I got them really going out, foot on the gas the whole game.
Max, I'm with you on this one. I think adding the rivalry aspect of it, I think it's going to stay right around probably 20. And I think it's not going to be close. The score will seem closer than it actually was, but I think Auburn covers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty close to the spread game here, but I've picked the favorite team about the last 4 weeks, I think, in the spread, and I've gotten them wrong. So I'm going to roll with Alabama here.
Now we get to the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe. Minnesota at Wisconsin. The Badge favored by 3.5. I was a little bit more impressed with what I saw from Minnesota last week as opposed to Wisconsin. I think Ibrahim is going to be able to do better than our offense was able to do. That's for sure. So I'm going to go with the Gophers on the road. A little bit of an upset.
I just want to say I love this rivalry trophy. It's amazing. But I have the badge here. I think Minnesota's had one of those off years and Wisconsin will win, but the spread is pretty true to what I think the game will end up to.
I got Minnesota.
I got Minnesota as well. I think it'll rely on the health of Braylon Allen. After that, he went down late in that Nebraska game. I think if he's healthy, I think it'll be different, but I got Minnesota in that one.
After watching Wisconsin and Minnesota play against my team last 2 weeks, I got Minnesota here.
That's a good way to judge it. That's for sure. Next, the probably second best game of the weekend, although everything's getting overlooked because of that Michigan Ohio State game. But number 15 Notre Dame at number 6 USC, classic matchup here. A couple gold helmet teams. Well, gold teams. USC doesn't have a gold helmet. But I like Notre Dame to win this game. I think they're a more complete team right now. I really still worry about USC's defense. Notre Dame is also the most improved team this year in college football, too. It's been crazy how much better they are now. So give me the Irish.
I got Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. Give me USC to win this game.
Yeah, after watching Caleb Williams put on a show last week, I can't pick against him. I got USC.
All right, I got USC. I think USC's got a ton to play for in this one. So give me USC.
If I got USC as well, hopefully their defense can hold up. That's my only worry.
And then finally, I could look like an idiot for that pick, by the way. Thanks, guys. Last but not least, though, Michigan at Ohio State. The game, actually not last but not least, because we're going to go back to the Husker game. But Michigan and Ohio State, the game, 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox. The Buckeyes favored by 8. I am going to pick Ohio State, but this is going to be a pick that I'm kind of rooting against because I kind of want Michigan to win this game. But I think the Buckeyes are a little bit better of a team. They've been more tested, that's for sure.
I think this kind of all depends on the health of Blake Corum. Yeah, he played last week, but he didn't have Blake Corum's stats. But overall, I think Ohio State is a more sound team. They get off, they start the game hot, and they just kind of don't let their foot off the pedal. They've had some tough games this year, but so has Michigan. But I still think Ohio State is the most dominant team in this game. So give me the Buckeyes.
I've also got Ohio State. They're at home, and it's a revenge game from last year. I think Ohio State gets the job done easily.
Yeah, I got Ohio State in this one. Give me another CJ Stroud Heisman moment.
Yeah, I'm going with Ohio State, and I think they're going to cover. But I'm with you, Max. I'm rooting for Michigan.
Yes, sir. And last but not least, we get to the Corn Bowl, which is what we're calling. We're not calling it the Heroes game because that's stupid. This is the Corn Bowl.
Corn Bowl.
Yes, sir. That's a way better name, and it's what it should have been named in the first place. I'm sorry. I'm going to be biased here. I'm not going to be the Power 6 unbiased. I'm going to be the Power 6 biased. I cannot pick against the Hawkeyes over the Huskers. So I'm going with Nebraska, baby. The Huskers are going to go out there and win this game in Iowa City. Tears are going to be rolling out of the cheerleaders of Iowa who are going to be grazing on the grass in the field because they're cows anyway. Yeah, I like Nebraska to win this game.
Cheerleaders.
14-13.
As we know, we're a professional sports media company. So I had to go with my professional pick here. I hate to say it, Max, because I want Nebraska to win this game. I don't think we've got it. I really don't. I really wish I could pick Nebraska here, but I have to go with Iowa. This is for my chance to take the lead in the picks, and I had to go with my gut here. So unfortunately, I am picking the Hawkeyes, 21-10. But I also agree it should be the Corn Bowl.
Corn Bowl.
Corn Bowl for sure. This game is really hard to pick because I think at the end of the day, I don't think there will be any winners after what takes place on the field. We have Iowa's offense that was getting rolling with Laporta, and now he's out. We have Nebraska's defense, which has looked pretty awful at times. Nebraska's, all stages of Nebraska has looked awful at times. There's going to be some bad football played, but I think Nebraska has more points at the end of it.
Max,
What's
I knew
your
you were a
score
loyal
prediction?
fan.
Wait, Headley, what's your score
God, I have to
prediction?
do a prediction. Oh no. 21-6 Nebraska.
Oh yes, let's go.
That'll never happen.
I knew you guys were loyal fans here. Isaiah, whatever, dude. I got Nebraska. It's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be disgusting.
It needs to be ugly.
But I got Nebraska 17-14.
Let's
All right,
go, Nate.
fellas, I also know it's gonna be ugly, and it needs to be ugly not for Nebraska, Headley. It needs to be ugly for Iowa because Iowa wins ugly games. Every game they've won this year has
That's
been
true.
ugly.
That's true.
I think it's gonna be close.
The Illinois one, that was pretty ugly.
But for my prediction, Iowa 24-10. But I bet it's gonna be closer than that.
I wouldn't be, guys. I honestly would not be surprised if Iowa came out and scored 30 points. Like I really would. It would not.
That would surprise me. That wouldn't surprise you? That would surprise
No,
me.
Iowa's offense always plays better than usual against Nebraska. If you go back and look at the scores, they always put up more score.
Not last year. We killed ourselves in the fourth quarter last year. Iowa did not play good at all.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we lost that
historically,
game last year.
Iowa scores a lot of points on Nebraska.
I mean, the thing is,
They haven't
Nebraska's
scored over
defense,
30 in the past 5 years.
Since
Headley.
Nebraska's been bad lately.
our defense is just so much improved from early in the year, though. Like they're playing pretty good right now. When was the last time we only let up 15 points against Wisconsin? I sure as hell can't remember. I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They are a bend don't break sort of defense.
I didn't get to mention this earlier, but I do have the stat. In our first 4 games, which were the Shenander games, we allowed 142 points. In our last 7 games, we've allowed 157. So that is massive improvement.
Well, it's tough when you give up 45 points to Georgia Southern, but
Yeah, that's not good. It's very bad, in fact. But anyway, that will wrap things up for the Power 6 podcast this week. Rivalry week. What?
There wasn't really a trivia this week.
Well, it's
Max
who's
kind of
ahead
answered all the
Clarence?
questions before we could have a
You
fucking
didn't do a
answer.
trivia.
Let me think if I can think of a trivia in the next 10 seconds.
When was the
While you
last
do that-
time Vanderbilt won back-to-back SEC games?
Do you know this one?
No.
That's a great question, Isaiah.
I was thinking of this earlier. Max, you find the answer.
I would say it's either 2016 or 2017.
I don't even think it's that recent. I would say like 2012.
No, they were decent then.
Last year.
They hadn't won 26 straight SEC games, Connor.
I was just
Until-
kidding. That's why I was just
until-
kidding.
until
I was
last
just kidding, my
week.
guy.
Till
When's the last time?
2018 was the last
Iowa?
time. 2018.
Last time Nebraska beat Iowa?
Yeah.
I
Wasn't
didn't
it
even know
2014?
It was 2014, yeah. Last time Vandy won back-to-back SEC games was 2018.
Been over 10 years since Nebraska beat Iowa in Lincoln.
Ooh. Hey, on that note, I can do a little football update. That's what they call it overseas is football. I tried watching FIFA today. Do you know they can tie 0-0?
Yeah. This is such a dumb
Dude,
What
I don't-
kind of
I don't
sport
like-
are they playing? You can tie 0-0, dude.
Dude, I don't
What
like the
heck?
group play. They need to go to extra time or something.
Yeah, I don't like no FIFA World Cup either, man. But go USA. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
go
all I gotta
USA.
say
What are they gonna do?
is-
They tied, man. Like, how do you can't even be up? You don't know how to feel at the end of the game. It's weird.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Walker Zimmer? That guy screwed.
That
Are
was
you
dumb.
happy or sad when you tie?
Well,
don't
in this
know.
case, that was a bad result for the U.S. because we should have beaten Wales, and we really needed that result because now we're kind of in a tough spot to get out of the group because we really need to tie England and then beat Iran is the realistic way we get advanced from our
So
group.
What
they're
the
going
one
for
guy
the
you
tie
can't
against
foul.
England.
Well, obviously we want to beat England, but at least England is a lot better. England is supposed to beat us.
The
So
one
if we
guy
can
you
at
can't
least
give
tie
a fucking
England,
PK to for
so if
Wales
you're-
though is Gareth Bale.
The coach
We
telling
fucked
them,
up,
guys,
though.
let's go for that tie today.
That's
Maybe
what,
win
dude,
it, but let's go
the
for that
strategy
tie.
was to tie. I watched
if we're
4
if-
hours this
if-
morning and no goals were scored. How ridiculous! It was
we'll
like
put it this way.
watching the Broncos versus the Broncos.
if the U.S.
Like
is
watching
tied
Iowa
with
versus
England
Iowa.
late in the game, they're going to play for the tie because
Yeah,
that'll
it's
be
a
a fine
park. It's a
result.
park the
Stupid.
bus. It's a park the bus.
I wish Brad was here to defend his sport.
Hey, it's a great sport. Most watched sport in the entire world.
Yeah,
That
By
doesn't
the
mean
way.
you're right.
though.
Well,
By the way.
Not most
the
watched.
entire
sport
world
matters.
doesn't have the best country in it.
That's
Wait a
true.
I'm
minute.
telling you one thing: none of these teams could win in the SEC.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
literally, if we take all our best athletes and take them out of the sport they're currently playing in and put them in soccer, we're the best. We're the best soccer team in the
Yeah.
World
And
Cup.
that's why
We win
that's
the-
why
we
we're
win the
greatest
Women's
and
World Cup.
oldest country in the world.
Dude, all I want to say is how do those guys run around for 90 minutes straight? That
It's a-
shit
not
is
it's a
scoring, by not
jog.
Because
scoring,
they
that's
don't
how.
drink
Dude.
beer every Saturday and watch football.
that's crazy though. Those guys are running around chasing people the entire game.
Hey, they're not wasting any energy on scoring though.
Yeah. None of those countries have any Super Bowls either, too. If we want to throw that in the mix, it's a
Ah.
joke.
Natties. They don't have any natties.
No natties, no Final Four apps.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
what even? What are they? They probably don't even have as many Olympic gold medals.
guys- You guys got a score prediction for USA England this Friday?
0-0.
2-2.
Probably got like USA like 1,
wow.
England like 7.
Oh fuck! Better not be.
England,
I'm gonna go
England wins the
1-1
game.
tie.
England wins the game like 3-1.
Yeah, that's
They'll-
the most
they'll
likely
win-
scenario.
yeah.
That's
They'll
the most
win.
realistic one.
I think 2-2 is possible, but we have to
2-2
play
is very
really good.
possible. Yeah.
We have to play very good. All I want
mean-
to say is my my man bun defender, can't remember, Tim Reams. Love that guy.
Oh yeah. Been a fan since day one, just like the Cards, eh?
Hey, day one of watching the U.S. in the World Cup, Tim Reams, my favorite player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By day one, I
I'll
mean
learn the
yesterday.
roster once they start scoring touchdowns.
Once they score a 7-point play, I'll be a fan.
Yeah.
6
Hey,
point.
all I want to know is like, I think the ref should throw flags instead of blowing a little whistle. I think that'd be funny.
I mean,
There's
I
not
don't know.
plays,
I think
so
if a
flag
player
wouldn't
like
work.
clearly if a player clearly flops, they should be like dropped in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and see if they can survive. But
Yeah, that's a
anyway.
good idea.
Yeah.
All I know is a lot of
I
those
like this
guys were
football
cramping up
slander.
yesterday.
Dude, I love this. Sorry, soccer slander because Brad just has to listen to this and he can't do anything about it.
I mean,
Dude,
I like
Brad's gonna be
soccer. I like the World
Brad,
Cup.
I'm here
but
for you. Brad, I'm here for you.
Brad's gonna
All
be
these guys
pissed
are
when he
idiots.
Max
listens
They
is
to
don't know what
big.
they're talking
Max is a
about.
big soccer guy
I'm here
too.
for you, Brad.
I'm not
Yeah,
like a
Max-
huge soccer guy, but
Are you gonna claim that? Are you gonna claim huge soccer fan, Max?
no, I'm not a huge soccer fan. I like.
But you
I
are gonna
watch-
claim soccer fan.
Yeah.
mm,
You played soccer, didn't you?
no,
Oh, you didn't?
no,
Oh, I thought you did.
no. I never. I mean, I don't pay attention to any leagues, and I just really like to watch the World Cup.
The World Cup is fun to watch.
I do- I think
won't
the World
watch,
Cup is
like,
actually
They
a
do like to
phenomenal
watch
sporting event.
USA. They do like to watch USA in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
But
not gonna go.
other
I'm
than
not
that,
gonna
I
be one of
don't
these
watch
guys.
any other countries.
I'm not one of these
Well, are you
guys
gonna
that
watch
wakes
like
up at
the
4 a.m. to watch
semifinals or the
Argentina.
final?
No.
Really?
Unless USA's in it, no.
I mean, we're definitely not gonna be in it, but no, that's fair. I mean, I get that.
It depends on what time it is.
I've never watched it before. Maybe this year will be my first, but I don't know.
Dude,
If I had to answer,
I bet that
no.
game's gonna be at like 4 a.m. our time.
No, I'd probably be like the
No,
10
it'll
a.m.
be
game.
it'll be like a noon or 1 kickoff. Most likely is what they were saying.
Oh, for the final?
Yeah, for the final.
Oh, damn. Okay, well, that's not bad. That's like 9 or 10 p.m. in Qatar.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
late.
that was crazy last night to watch, or yesterday to watch the U.S. play at 1 o'clock, and it was pitch black at Qatar.
Yeah.
It's insane that you go across the world and they're
That's
different
weird how that
times.
works considering the Earth is flat.
Crazy how that works.
All right, Kyrie.
You guys wait for our summer edition where we just go over conspiracy theories.
Also, live update on this Creighton game. Jays go up by 3 now. Nemhard with a huge dunk. That's awesome to see.
That was awesome.
Tie game.
You're ahead of me.
But
Tie game. I think I'm ahead of
God
all
damn
of
it,
you.
Nate.
I'm ahead of you. It's all. That's okay.
Better
I'll
wrap
ruin
this
it.
one up.
yeah, let's go ahead.
All
and
right.
wrap
Yeah, I was
things
gonna
up.
say we'll wrap this one up here. That'll do it for this week. Everyone enjoy the holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Enjoy an even better holiday, which is this thing called Rivalry Week in college football. Absolutely awesome stuff. Thank you, Nate, for joining us so much. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your college football knowledge.
Hey,
No problem, guys. Go Blue Raiders this weekend. Going for 7 wins against
Raiders.
Florida International.
go Blue Raiders.
Yes, sir.
Nate
Go
has
Middle
real
Tennessee State.
football knowledge. We don't.
Go-
All right. Another big shout out to Nate for joining us this week. We appreciate you taking the time and joining us. We appreciate your support. We've been hearing that you've been listening all season. We appreciate it. Make sure you guys don't miss out on any of the action this rivalry weekend. There's always some big upsets that nobody sees. Even the Power Six doesn't get it all right. I hope you guys have a happy and safe Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you get some good spent time with family. Eat lots of food, get fat. Who cares? It's the holidays. As always, make sure you have a safe weekend. Don't do anything crazy. You can go crazy, but just stay safe. And as always, go Big Red, guys.
Go Hawks.
Good.
Go Big Red.